Alright, you get kind of pissed because I called your religion a fairy tale. And you said, now you're being an asshole. Now, you know that insults people. Well, yeah, get over it. It's part of my rights. Rights to free speech. You know, those things. In a secular government, they're pretty useful. Not me, because I know the source of a 17-year-old smart-ass kid that needed to get his ass whipped when he mouthed off. No, I voiced my opinion. My opinion is quite accepted because my opinion coincides with a lot of facts, while your opinion doesn't. It just coincides with somewhat a popular belief, but popularity means nothing in something's truth. Alright, then you say you lack respect for others and that will cause you, that will cost you in life. No, I respect others. I don't respect their beliefs. I never have, I never will. The Bible and history and Jesus Christ is not a fairy tale. Your grammar is atrocious, man. Then you say even secular scholars will tell you how profound the effect of Jesus Christ is. No, they won't. Show me one. And profoundness is an opinionated word. I mean, it denotes nothing in fact. The Bible and history, well, history is not a fairy tale. Jesus Christ may be, and the happenings in the Bible may be. The places might not be, but the happenings in the Bible may very well be. There's no evidence for them outside of the Bible, besides perhaps Josephus, and even his was not a first-hand account. This is why he sent his only son to show he lived the perfect life, performed miracles, and suffered and died, buried and resurrected. You know, Father. Okay, now you're just preaching. And you know what I do with preaching? I say, well, that's stupid, and I'll give you a logical answer to your preaching. Why did God send himself to sacrifice himself to himself to change something he made in the first place? Doesn't make much sense, does it? I don't know. It sounds like bullshit to me. Now you say, I know I kind of went into this where I left off on the last video. Alright, now you say, just if you want to call yourself an educated person, you should know who Jesus Christ was, even if you don't think he was God. You should know the real story from the true biblical scriptures with an intelligent understanding, not schoolyard taunts and mocking. Okay, there's nothing that says that if you want to be an educated person, you know who Jesus Christ was. I know who he supposedly was. I don't think he was God. I don't see any reason to think he was real. And there's nothing to say that the story from the Bible is the real story, or that it's true. It says it is assured that he was real and did teach in the years about 2008 years ago. Now notice how the dates are based on Jesus Christ's death. No, actually they're not. Even in that, you are wrong. If they were based on his death, then there would be a 32-year gap in our timeline, but there's not. They're based on his supposed birth. Or the year of his birth, that is. And you say, amazing, as if you're trying to make some sort of correlation that somehow that makes it true. When in reality it doesn't, and in reality we don't even use the BC AD system anymore. We use BCE and I think CE now, before Common Era and Common Era. Alright, anyway, it's religion and not a fairy tale. I can denote many things that are on both religious sounding and fairy tale-ish sounding. Let's take a fairy tale for example. I'll just go ahead and say Cat in the Hat is a fairy tale. Or no, Hansel and Gretel. There's all these, so there's a moral in the story and all this other stuff, and there's somewhat morals in religion sometimes. They both have zero evidence that they existed. Now you say just because you don't understand it and rebel does not mean it's not real. Actually, I do understand it and I rebel against it because I think it's wrong. And it doesn't mean it's not real, it just means it's highly unlikely. And then you say, and what is real? And then you say, God lives in our souls, mind, heart, and God is all over. Well, this is a pure assumption. there's no evidence for a soul. And if you mean by heart, emotion is located in the brain. And your mind, being your logic, also located in the brain. There is no evidence for a soul. Then you say God is all over. And I say, where? Just look around you. I look around me, I don't see God. And you say this was no accident out of nothing for no reason by random chance. First off, you're done it by saying this is no accident and random chance in the same sentence. There is no reason. We can give ourselves reason, but there is no reason. No one said it was an accident, because accident implied that isn't what was thought to was going to happen. It just happened. You're giving it values it does not need. You say there's an order in the universe. Well, that's completely opinionated. There's no reason to say there's any more order than if there were less order than what we call order now. Then we would just say there is still order. That's just what you would say. I would say that there's no reason to say that this is order or chaos. This is just what it is. You say intelligence in the design of a human. Well, you're presupposing that this is a design and not just something that happens. Yes, we can be something that happens. Intelligence comes about from humans and other organisms, not because something intelligent created us. It's called mirror reasoning, or like what I call past mirror reasoning. You think just because you have something now, that something in the past must have had it too in order for you to have it. It's not true. You say we are not apes. I agree, we aren't apes. What we are humans, Homo sapiens. We have common ancestors with apes the same way we have common ancestors with carrots. Alright, now you say, people say the DNA of an ape is 90% of a human's, or 95%. Actually, chimpanzees are about 97% of a human's, I think. And then you say, why can't we mate with them? Well, I say because we're a different species. Some species can mate with each other. It just so happens that ours cannot. And then you say the fact is we are about 80% different. Yes, we're made of the same things, but the apes' minds work so different than ours. Actually, they work very similarly. The only difference is they don't have the actual spoken ability of using language. They do, however, learn sign language. Well, are you saying that people who are deaf have completely different brains, that they're lesser than human? That's another thing about evolution. It doesn't say we evolved from lesser organisms. It says we just evolved from common ancestors. Wow. And then I go on to say this, and I have to say this. If some ancient people, with their lack of explanation for the volcano Sinai, caused them to think that it was some magical being named Yahweh, never happened. In other words, if your God was never made up, then I wouldn't have to sit here and argue the sheer ridiculousness of it. And so my assumption that there's not a God is no way the same as your assumption that there is. Yours is far more fantastical. And you say this is a non sequitur, illogical, red herring, and straw man. No, it's not. Go look up straw man and go look up red herring right now. Also look up illogical and logic. And you say, yes, man has been superstitious. Religion is not superstition. It isn't now. I could have sworn that, I don't know. What is it? Suffer not a witch to live. That seems somewhat in code with superstition. Christianity is rooted in fact, history, archaeology, anthropology, and sociology, and linguistic and geography and theology. Okay, archaeology, maybe the places in the Bible existed, but nothing about the people has ever been proven true. Matter of fact, some of it's been proven false. About Moses, that was proven false. Your anthropology still has nothing to do with this. Your sociology still has nothing to do with this. Linguistic has nothing to do with this. Geography, perhaps, because of the places. And theology, which is your religion, so of course it will. Alright, I'm going to finish you off.